Perfect. Awesome. Welcome everyone to this ICC Women's T20 World Cup final pre-match press conference with New Zealand's Suzie Bates. Again, just to remember the rules and the way that we've been going recently, and to ensure that you've all got a microphone in your hand. Who'd like to ask the first question?
Hi, Suzie.
Hi.
You know the first thing we're going to ask you about is that last over. So just take us through it. Whose idea was it? Amelia told us that she happened to whisper in your ear, and then you ended up going and asking Sophie to give you the ball. But just take us through that over and what made you do that.
To others it might have seemed quite random, but we had spoken about it in terms of often when you get to the last over only having 3 out, and we've gone to Brooke Halliday quite a bit, and she sort of takes the ball away from the right-hander, and it can be difficult to set a field with 3 out. So I'd spoken to Paul Wiseman about that's probably my one opportunity to get a bowl is when I can shut down the leg side. And yeah, thankfully I think Melie had sort of run the idea past Sophie, and when there was an option I thought I need to step up here, and I said yep, I'll do it. So I didn't ask for the ball, but I didn't say no. And yeah, after that first ball, I sort of had a guilty look at Sophie and sort of tried to say, no, I've got this, don't worry.
Perfect. Just from there, after the win was sealed, right? You all were like really pumped. There were pictures being taken and everything. It took some time, I think, for you to just tear up, for the emotions to really get to you. Can you just take me through what that feels like to just seal that over in your favor when you know West Indies was looking dangerous? Irrespective of whether Doughton was there or not, people were trying. The entire tail was trying. So just to seal that win and to walk back, how did you just process the next 20 minutes after that?
Yeah, I don't think I did. I think it wasn't actually until today when I went and had a swim at the beach that it sort of hit me and I got a bit teary-eyed. I think with the adrenaline and everything that's going on, you're sort of just in a bit of shock. And yeah, I watched the highlights. I never watch my bowling because it feels way better than when I watch it. It looks hideous. But this morning I didn't care what it looked like. And yeah, the emotions of just messages from home, family and friends, I guess sharing that happiness with them. You know, if you've been a White Ferns fan, well, I've been in the team, there's been a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows, and they've ridden that roller coaster with you. So I think it was sort of carrying those emotions that they've got something to celebrate as well as us, and yeah, just thinking of those special moments and having time to actually process it. I think last night I was just, my heart rate was still going when I got to bed at 1 o'clock, and thankfully I got a little bit of sleep, but today it's just sort of processing that and then getting that out of the system and going again.
Hi, Suzie. I'm going to take you back to not 2023, but 2022, the home World Cup, and the sort of disappointment of not making it to the knockouts, and just want to see how much of that disappointment has played a part in this journey, making it to this final. What sort of motivations came out of that? What sort of lessons came out of that has helped you along in these 2 years?
Yeah, I think for this group, when you get one opportunity in a career, usually to have a home World Cup and you don't quite nail it, that comes with a lot of disappointment. And we had a really great fan base during that World Cup, and we had some really tight matches, and we were so close to getting through to that semi-final stage. So personally, that's really motivating. But to be honest, ever since 2009, as a cricketer, when you play a team sport, your ultimate goal is to be a world champion. So I think it's been all those tournaments that have motivated me, and I know Sophie as well, and some of the younger girls, fortunately or unfortunately, don't have that extra motivation. But yeah, so it feels like it's just all built to this moment, and we get one more opportunity tomorrow to have a good dig, and I think that's the most overwhelming thing about it all is it's felt like a really long journey to get back to this point.
After the win yesterday, there was this brief, 10-second hug between Sophie, Suzie, and Leah Tahuhu, the 3 senior-most people of this team. What's been between the 3 of you, between the 3 mums of this team? What has been, the conversation like? Like, how are you sort of, giving a pep talk to maybe the youngsters? How has that been like for the 3 of you together?
Thankfully, only one of us is officially a mum, because Sophie and I wouldn't do a great job. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of a joke between us. Obviously, we're the grandmas of the team, and yeah, we're still standing, I think. Leah with her bionic knee, Sophie just having dealt with a lot of, stuff as captain over the last few years, and me just keeping on going and going. So yeah, it's just a really special moment when there's been some tough times, and the three of us in particular have been through their ups and downs, and to have that moment, knowing we'd made the semi-finals, which gives yourself a chance, was really special. So we look after each other, us old girls, and try and keep up with some of the younger players.
Suzie, you've just spoken about experience, and we know that Sophie's stepping down as captain. Have you given some thought as to what comes after tomorrow?
Not really, maybe before this tournament, but right now I think she's been absolutely brilliant in her captaincy, just so calm. I think the decisions she's made in these conditions have been brilliant. So it's unfortunate that she's stepping aside, but thankfully it's just as captain. And look, there's some obvious leaders coming through. And Melie as vice captain is really helping on the field, and whether or not she's ready for that step up, I think we've got some other strong leaders that lead their domestic sides with Maddie Green and Brooke Halliday. So look, the team's going to be in good hands, and fingers crossed Sophie and I will still be around to lend an ear. But yeah, I think it's the right time for Sophie, and I'm just really pleased that, for a send-off, we've given her a final and hopefully can go the whole way.
And when we talk about great cricketing rivalries, we don't always talk about South Africa and New Zealand, but Chloe just told us you guys know all about rivalry because you watch the rugby together. What does it feel like, playing this team where I guess there's great rivalry in another sport, and you know what they're going to bring, they know what you're going to bring? What's this kind of vibe between the two of you?
Yeah, we watched that final in South Africa. No, was that, what did we watch in South Africa?
We watched Rugby World Cup, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I've got a bad memory. I remember yesterday's game, and that's about it.
It's a knockout match, I think.
Yeah. So, we've played South Africa in South Africa recently. I think what's so exciting for us is it's two new teams, to be the first T20 world champions for their country. That's exciting for both of us, and we know how competitive South Africa are, and they love the big matches. So it's going to be a great game tomorrow, and we know some of the players from franchise cricket, and when they get over that white line, they hold nothing back. So yeah, it's going to be a great contest, and maybe create a rivalry even more in the future.
Suzie, can I just ask what it would mean for you personally, but also the team, and then women's cricket back in New Zealand, for you guys to win this?
Yeah, as a cricketer, everything, I touched on earlier, your ultimate goal is to be a world champion. You play for other goals, but when you play a team sport, that's the ultimate. So that's what I've been chasing personally, and as a group, every time you go to a World Cup, you want to win it. So I think, especially from where we've come from, when a team's been able to bounce back after 10 losses in a row, the pride and the resilience that we have as a group makes it so special, and we've never given up on each other, and that's the support staff. Ben Sawyer, he's been through the ringer trying to get this team believing in themselves, and a huge credit has to go to him for just keep on backing that same group when results weren't coming our way. And he's pretty quiet, but I know deep down he's really proud, and it'll mean a lot to him. But to everyone in New Zealand, like I said, if you've been a White Fern supporter, it's been a bit up and down in the last decade, so we know we've got a lot of fans and young girls during that World Cup. Sometimes they don't actually care about the results, they just love seeing their idols playing and showing their skill, and they just love watching. But I think to have a final, even more inspiring, and there will be young players that want to be the next Eden Carson, she's the face of the tournament, or Melie, so that's exciting for us.
And we talk often in this sport about, like you just say, inspiring young girls and that sort of thing. But I guess a team having yourself, Sophie, Leah in the team, do you think that also sends a message to women in their 30s that you can still be active, you can still play sport, you can still play at a high level if you want to? Do you think there's a message there for them?
100%. Yeah, I probably take it for granted, but the fact that I'm over 35 and still competing and that I've never given up on my dream, and I think as females you do feel societal pressure to give up on pursuing your dreams, and you know, people I think expect you to do other things at a certain age, and that is what is so exciting about women's sport, is it is just growing and growing, and we're breaking down barriers every single day. And yeah, it's not just young players, it's players in our team coming back after having children, and I've only ever been in the team with 2 parents who are able to have a career and have children. Yeah, I just think we can be a little bit ageist, and even more so with females in terms of what they can and can't do. So I'm happy to wave that flag. I keep myself young by hanging out with people a lot younger. When I hang out with people my same age, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, grow up. But yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of potential to challenge those notions, and yeah, at the end of the day, age becomes a factor, but as long as you can keep contributing, I think it shouldn't matter.
Kia ora. First of all the best for tomorrow's match. This is a side left field question, and I'll come to that. I just want to understand, what was your position when you were playing basketball?
What was my position?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like a point guard, shooting guard. I was actually very short for a basketballer. I'm quite tall for a cricketer. Are you a basketball fan?
Yeah.
Great.
So from that 23 of power guard to this 23, was there any connection with you having 23?
I am embarrassed to say, when I first made the White Ferns, I loved basketball equally. And my brother loved Michael Jordan. He used to watch the Chicago Bulls. My mum used to let Tom get off school early to watch the Bulls when they were winning, and Michael Jordan was my favourite. So I thought, well, I'm a baller at heart when I was 18, so I'll be number 23, but I've never been 23 for any other team, but that was the reason initially. So Melie joking about, I don't call myself MJ, she calls me that, but it did have a little bit of relation to the number, and I used to wear MJ Air Jordan socks as well, just to not lose that baller side of me.
So it is the forward thing basically what happened. So yeah, I'll come back to the serious kind of a question. Apart from everything that was happening on the ground, apart from emotions getting involved, there was one person who was equally emotional but could not change the things on the field, and that was Katy Martin in the commentary box. So we could see the emotions from her. We know how close both of you have been, and that farewell at Dunedin is something I do remember. So what it is like, were there any conversations with her after the match, and how inconsolable was she after when you guys made it to the final?
I think she was inconsolable before the game. The number of messages I had, I was trying to filter them, but yeah, obviously Katy Martin, playing for the White Ferns for so long and being one of my best mates and playing so much cricket with her, and she was part of that home World Cup where we couldn't quite get across the line to the semi-finals, but look, she's thriving in life outside of cricket, and it's actually so cool to have her around the group wherever we travel. Like, we turn up and Marty's there, and she just lives and breathes it, as you can see. So yeah, I think she cried before I did, but just pleased, you know, as a commentator, she probably sometimes has to defend us a little bit in the commentary box, and now she can just skite and say all the positive things she wants. So yeah, she was stoked. She just gets a little bit excited about the analysts, so I just sort of have to calm her down sometimes.
Just one from me. When after the win against India, I asked this question to Sophie. I'm going to ask you this reverse of that question. I asked her what it is like to play with you, and she gave a beautiful answer to that question and was a bit emotional, and later said you're one of the best captains she's played under. So just a question, what it is like to play with and under leadership of Sophie Devine.
Yeah, I did see that, and that was very kind of her. She says very nice things, which is special, but look, I have a lot to thank her for, and the reason that I'm still here, I think she probably doesn't realise how much she's motivated me to be better, and it was a really tough decision when I decided to step away from the captaincy, but knowing I had Amy and Sophie in the group, it allowed me to do that with a bit more ease, and the support that she's given me through captaincy and when I haven't been captain has been massive. And like, she's one of a kind. There'll never be another Sophie Devine in world cricket. And yeah, like when I got to open with her, I just stood down the other end and watched, wishing I could hit the ball that hard. And yeah, off the field, she's just so calm and level. She's brought some great values to this group, making sure that we care about people as cricketers first and foremost. And yeah, she doesn't get caught up in too much of the politics that goes with being captain. She just concentrates on doing her job. And yeah, we're really going to miss her, and I'm going to miss her as captain. But look, we've still got a little bit left in us, and I've just loved every minute of being in a team with her, and every time I have to play against her, I hate it. So yeah, I can't say enough about her, and the fact that she's got us to this point as a leader, I think, is a huge credit to just how calm and how positive she's remained with Ben around this group and where we're heading. So excited for her tomorrow. No tears from me, though. No worries, thanks. And I gave Sophie some time off today, so she can thank me later.